Welcome to Discover Marshalltown. I'm your host, Denny Gravenbauer. Discover Marshalltown is a local talk show on this program, and you know what? Every time we try to bring something new to the table, and today we're going to bring a musical new to our table, and my guest today is John Schumacher. John, welcome to Discover Marshalltown.
Hey, Denny, thanks for having me over.
You know, through the course of the years, I think you and I have paths have crossed a few times.
Many times.
I was going to say a few, but you say many. That's okay. You know, but music right now is, could you consider music being your life?
I think the music is my life because previously when we bumped parts, I was on the other side of interviewing.
And, you know, and he's telling the truth, folks, because, you know, with radio stations and different programs and different things we worked with, but you had always been the one asking me the questions. Now I'm going to finally get even with you.
Okay, well, let's get her started.
So what are you doing?
Well, right now, after my stint with Kicks and KFJB here in Marshalltown, working in the news department and being a reporter and broadcaster over there, I went back to my first kind of passions. I've been lucky enough to have two passions. One was radio and one was music, and I've got to do both of them, but I went back to my first. And after my few years with the radio station, I started back on playing guitar and teaching. And it got to a point where my wife was looking at me. I met my wife when I moved to Iowa to get back into radio, and she goes, "I've noticed all these guitars you've had, and I've never heard you play." Well, I had a little 5-year hiatus from it, and I couldn't stop. I had to pick it up again. So in Marshalltown, I started teaching again, and still teaching right now, but actually doing a lot more playing. So
doing what you really love.
What I really love doing.
You know, like you say, you took a 5-year hiatus from playing. Sometimes, and I remember when I took piano lessons from kindergarten to 12th grade, and I hated it. And as soon as I was able to be an adult, getting out of school, I never played the piano.
Yeah.
Didn't play it for maybe 10 years. And I remember my dad always saying, if you play the piano, you can always have fun at a party.
Mm-hmm.
And I never played it, never touched it. And all of a sudden, one time was at a party or something. There was a piano there, and I just kind of sat down and started playing it. And now I just love to play the piano again. And I taught myself how to play guitar.
Yeah.
And I brought my harmonica in case you want me to join in with you.
Sure.
This afternoon. But you know, it's a funny thing. Music is something that's kind of riding the bicycle.
It is.
You learn it, you never really forget it.
You never really forget it, but I still remember coming back. It's when I taught under, rented a space out below Willard's on Main Street in Marshalltown. And that first month before I started picking up some students, I could remember everything I wanted to do, just my fingers wouldn't let me.
Yeah,
So you had to practice. It was like, boy, my brain knows what I want to do, but my fingers got to get back into it. And from there, I've actually done a lot of research and studying and talking to people about the benefits of not only listening to music, but playing music. And fortunately, I've had a lot of individuals who have been retired and wish they would have played guitar, so they started to learn from me, and they realize how much fun and beneficial health-wise it is.
Sure.
And trying to get, well, I'm sure I could get something from you. You know, when you get by on it, you just feel invigorated. And music is a healthy alternative to a lot of things for individuals out there. So I'm kind of hoping to be a spokesman for the benefits of music, not only listening, but even learning how to play, and you can be any age to learn.
After you picked it back up again and started doing your own thing, so to speak, how did teaching the instrument become part of your repertoire, I guess?
Teaching to me is indicative of being a better player. You know, that adage of those who can do, those who can't teach, I think is false. I think it's both together. And teaching really helps you get your stuff together is the best way that we can say it, because if I can explain it to something that I know innately, I will get questions and people go, well, what are you doing? And I have to think about it. It's like, to this point in my career, it's like, I know what I'm doing, but now if I can explain it to someone where they understand, that helps me become a better player. And so I think of teaching as a way to selfishly make me a better player, but hopefully get other people to understand exactly what we as guitar players or musicians, doesn't matter what instrument, what they are doing, and being able to convey those things that we know that we've been learning for years, and that can be any subject. But to me, it's an integral part of just being a player, is to help people learn what you do as well.
Now, when you talk teaching, I can see the little kid that's like a head taller than a guitar that walks in your place, and his mother says, "We want Johnny to learn how to play the guitar." Do you take such a raw individual that's never seen a guitar, never held a guitar? Is that what is typically one of your students, or would you rather prefer to the guy like myself has been away from it for 10 years that wants to take it back up again?
I take all. I think it helps me as a teacher to take as many as I can based upon my schedule, but I'm also kind of a little radical thinker when it comes to learning an instrument, especially guitar, because it's not an instrument that they could learn in school. They learn band instruments and things like that, so guitar is not really taught there. And guitar is a little different instrument because it's different because I can show it. Well, to show you, I can show you something on guitar to explain it to you. I also played brass instruments like trombone and tuba and baritone, and I played a little bit of saxophone. With those kind of instruments, I can't show you how to do something, but I can show you where to place your fingers on a guitar and give you a little pick and strum, and all of a sudden a little music comes out.
But that hurts my fingers.
Yeah, so, but piano is very similar, is people can show you what to play. Whereas those kind of instruments, you have band directors, and that's a tough job.
Oh, sure.
To bring those small students in, it's like you gotta have your embouchure this way and things like that.
You don't have the right lip. Maybe you try something else, cymbals or something.
Whereas teaching a guitar can be a little easier in that respect, and that's the one of it. But what I really enjoy is once people get kind of started to show them the fun of playing a song rather than the instrument, because I think that's why people wanted to learn how to play guitar in the first place. They wanted to learn how to play a song. So I kind of teach like they teach driving. You don't need to learn how the engine runs to drive a car, do you?
Right.
So I kind of reverse it like that. Well, let's teach you what a song is and how to play a song, and then take it and reverse engineer it from back there, because then people are a little more interested. Okay, I've played this song. What goes involved, or what's involved with that? And then you can teach them through that way.
In piano, you start out with, and I'll never forget the first song I taught was C, D, E, C, D, E. You learn how to play that, and then C, B, A, C, B, A. What's some of the first initial things you teach someone that's never played the guitar before? You show them what it is, you show them.
I can show them.
The biggest thing is how do I tune the darn thing?
Yeah, well, once you kind of get past the how do you tune, a lot of times when you get together with a guitar player, or someone that wants to learn how to play guitar, you want them to play something that they've heard. Because if they don't know what they're playing, how do they know if they're playing it right? And the old adage, and this comes from kind of our generation and younger, what's the first song you learned on the guitar? And they went, Smoke on the Water. Why? Because, but things are changing.
Sure.
When I've had younger students, and I've even noticed just in the last 5 years, they don't have any clue, because pop music has changed so much, you don't hear a lot of guitar.
Well, even when you're watching on TV, you're watching the steel guitar guy, and he's doing the Buddy Holly thing across the stage, and it's quite in depth now. Where versus it was chords and Michael rowed the boat ashore, and,
Yep.
and you don't really, like you say, you don't hear the guitar play the song. I never looked at it that way before.
Yeah. So things are changing musically, which is a challenge for myself because I knew I wanted to play guitar from the sound of it. I heard a Johnny Cash album when I was a little boy, and I loved the sound of that little twangy guitar in the background. Then I saw Chuck Berry with his red guitar, duck walking, and it's like, I want to do that. And
Now I want to play heavy metal.
yeah,
So how are you going to teach me how to play heavy metal?
it's all the same. It's all louder.
It's all
and
louder, okay.
louder and faster.
And
But
more
I mean,
steel,
the basic.
more steel involved in it.
Yeah, but the bottom line is once you can get past the physicality of it, that's probably the biggest issue with most people. It takes a little bit of strength to press down on those strings to get those fingers used to it. And that's just, let's get acclimated to the guitar. So sometimes a smaller student might not be ready for it.
I see.
Whereas you can take piano lessons at 4 because it doesn't take a lot of physical strength to hear something that you're playing.
I'm pretty physical, John, and I thought it was very hard to get my fingers to push down them darn keys.
Yeah.
You know, all 88 of them don't always go down all the same
Nope.
way. You know, they kind of work together. But okay, now how did you start professionally?
How did I
I
start
understand
professionally?
there's a little history with you.
There is. Actually, I have never seen Kyle Martin, who's the morning man on KFJB.
He was the one that kicked. He's the one that put him in this direction. So
Well, I've never seen him laugh so hard because I was doing the news, and I think it was during the holidays, so we had a few extra minutes to chit-chat across the board, and I started out real old school. I was about 11 or 12 years old, and I had been taking lessons for a couple years, and I caught on very quickly, and my teacher put me in touch with a polka band. So I started playing in polka dance bands when I was 11 or 12, and playing at that time. I just turned 50 a couple weeks ago. So I've been doing this almost
that's
40
we're
years.
using the black screen.
There we go.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known.
All we can see is glasses. So keep
There we
going.
go. But anyway, we started playing, and I grew up in a musically eclectic family. My mother loved good music. She loved to dance, played music all the time, but she was more prone to country western music of the Hank Williams style on up through the 60s, and my dad was jazz and big band, and that's the kind of stuff I heard. And as I started playing with this band and playing with the old-time accordion players, who we all may laugh at, but those guys were truly musicians. They knew how to entertain, and they knew a million songs. And I learned all these songs while performing.
Sure.
They couldn't get stumped. People would come up and they request, and I kind of look back at and I lament a little bit. Back that time, people had fun. As soon as you hit a note, the dance floor was full. Seems these days you kind of got to pull teeth to get people to dance, but everybody was dancing, having a good time. And so I started doing that, and I never had a real job from then on through high school. I was playing weddings and dances every
Are you a singer
weekend.
Too? You sing?
Well, I do.
We won't have that happen here today, folks. But
Oh, you could
maybe
have
we
it
will.
happen.
Maybe
We may.
we will.
Well,
never
you
know.
got your. You might have your harmonica. We could
Well,
probably
I
do
could-
something.
I could, yeah.
But my first singing, as I was 12 years old, the leader of the band asked me if I knew the words to, I can't even remember the song. I think it was Johnny Be Good. And I go, yeah, I do. I thought he wanted me to write them down so someone would sing it. And he just pointed to the microphone at the show. He goes,
During the show.
During the show, he goes, you're on. That's how things happen.
Exactly.
So are you a singer? I'm primarily a guitar player, but I sing because I know the words.
Now, you mentioned prior that you went from teaching to performing more now than probably teaching.
And well, what happened is playing our group called the Marshall County Hangmen with my bandmate Dave Gray, and he had done some performing at some of the nursing facilities around, and I kind of took that, I kind of went with that going, well, you know, you got to kind of look at eating and living and the way students and parents, time factors, wasn't getting the business as I was hoping for that I have in the past, but you know, as things change, so started calling up some nursing facilities, and then all of a sudden I was getting more calls and more calls. But it just so happens I playing for the same people that were hearing the same songs I was doing when I was 11 and 12 years old.
Exactly.
And they loved it because a lot,
classics,
the classic standards. And it's almost to a point right now where, man, there were a lot of great songs back then, but just because how the radio business is and the recording business is, people don't hear it as much anymore.
Sure.
And even the younger performers, they don't even know the songs I'm playing for these people.
Sure.
And so it turns out to be quite, I'm getting a lot of work that way.
Good.
And enjoying the heck out of it. And it also gets me to the point of the healing aspect of it. It is such a joy, you know, I play a lot of dementia wards. And cute story, I was down at a dementia ward and was playing the song Sentimental Journey from Doris Day and Les Brown and his band of renown. And a little gentleman up there, he was talking with me, obviously suffering from dementia. And I go, well, have you ever heard of Doris Day? And he looks at me and he nods his head and he goes, no, I don't believe I had. Well, I'm going to play a song called Sentimental Journey. Have you ever heard that song? And he looks at me and he kind of shakes his head. No, I don't believe I have. As soon as I started the song, he knew every word to it.
Yeah, sure.
And it was kind of chokes you up because it's like music really does well for people and people identify with it. So,
And you know, what do they say? They say a lot of times a breakthrough for a person is to hear music.
it is.
Then they'll go back into their condition that they were
Yeah.
before that music started, but they can remember the good old days and they can remember that song.
And it fires up neurons or whatever in the brain. And I get from children of who have come to see my shows of their parents who are in those, and you know, it breaks your heart. They go, they remember even a couple days afterwards some of those songs that you did that they were tapping their feet. So it feels good.
It kind of brings back a spark. Don't
Yes, it does.
It does.
And
Now, how far away do you go to do some of your?
well, right now, I can do about 2-3 shows a day.
Is
so
that right?
I do a lot down in Des Moines, here, Marshalltown area, and I've gone up as far as Iowa Falls north and to the Ames and Grinnell area. So I got a pretty big circle around here.
Well, I tell you what, you're going to get a bigger circle around here because, did you bring your pick with you?
I got a pick.
Okay, John Schumacher's got his pick. We promised you some music. We're going to take a short break now. When we come back, Mr. John Schumacher, right here on Discover Marshalltown, live playing the guitar. Welcome back to Discover Marshalltown with my guest today, John Schumacher. And John, again, what kind of a guitar is this?
Well, what I have here is an orange Gretsch Electric. It gets better gas mileage than the old gas-powered guitars, but and greener too. It's much better for the environment.
I see. Well, I promised you music for the very first time, live music here on Discover Marshalltown. So, John, take it away.
Well, let's see if we can. Here we go. Well, if you ever plan to motor west, travel my way, take the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66. Well, it flies from Chicago to LA, more than 2,000 miles overway. Get your kicks on Route 66. Well, you go to St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, Oklahoma City's looking mighty pretty. You'll see Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona. Don't forget Winona, Kingman, Boston, San Bernardino. So if you ever get hip to this timely tip, when you make that California trip, get your kicks on Route 66. To St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, Oklahoma City's looking mighty pretty. You'll see Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona. Don't forget Winona, Kingman, Boston, San Bernardino. So if you ever get hip to this timely tip, when you take that California trip, get your kicks on Route 66. Get your kicks on Route 66. Get your kicks on Route 66. Boy, I hit that wrong one right over there. But we'll call that a take.
We'll call that a take. There again, bringing back some of those vintage songs.
Oh, yeah.
That's fun to hear that because, Route 66, golly, 40 years ago, 50 or 40 years ago?
Oh, much longer than that now.
Now, do you go back any ballads of any kind?
Yeah, I mean, I love going back to like great songs like Georgia on My Mind with Hoagie Carmichael. And beautiful standard songs of those times, All of Me, anything by Gershwin, and things like that. And when you get to play those for a lot of the folks, because they don't get to hear them a lot anymore, and it's just a joy. And the lush imagery of the lyrics from that. Sure. I mean, you can those lyricists back then and the beautiful chords that come out of there, I do kind of miss those from those days, so it's fun to...
You got a ballad? You can play a ballad?
Yeah, let's see.
Repertoire here, John.
Well, right off a hand.
Play something you want to play.
How about... I got something right over here. No,
right off the bat.
Just trying to think. Do you want to hear this? Let's go back to the country. Have you ever passed a corner 4th and Grand with a little ball rhythm as the shoe shines stand? People gather round and clap their hands. He's a great big bundle of joy. Pop's a boogie woogie rag, Chattanooga shoe shine boy. He opens up his business when the clock strikes 9. He likes to get 'em early when they're feeling fine. Everybody gets a little rise and shine. He's a great big bundle of joy. Pop's a boogie woogie rag, Chattanooga shoe shine boy. Well, it's a wonder that the rag don't tear the way he makes it pop. Just listen to him fan the air with his hoppity hippity hoppity hoppity hippity hippity hop. He opens up his business when the clock strikes 9. He likes to get 'em early when they're feeling fine. Everybody gets a little rise and shine. He's a great big bundle of joy. Pop's the boogie woogie rag, Chattanooga shoe shine boy. Well, it's a wonder that the rag don't tear the way he makes it pop. Just listen to him fan the air with his hoppity hippity hoppity hoppity hippity hippity hop. He charges you a nickel just to shine one shoe. Makes the oldest kind of leather look like new. Your feet as though they want to dance when he gets through. He's a great big bundle of joy. Pops a boogie woogie rag, Chattanooga shoe shine boy. Pops a boogie woogie rag, Chattanooga shoe shine boy. Well, he pops a boogie woogie rag, Chattanooga shoe shine boy.
Good job. Good job.
There.
And I just couldn't help but sitting here as you're playing that. Can you imagine back in the old day with nothing else to do, no cable, no TV, nothing. But people are sitting around like a campfire, and you got a guy that's beating the drums, you got 2 or 3 other guys on guitars. Everything is coming together. Ad-lib music is created and born.
I love it. And that's what I'm hoping I can probably get across to a lot of people these days. Once you learn how to play an instrument, I wonder with all the technology these days and kids going with their iPods and stuff, what are you going to do if by chance there's no electricity for a couple of days?
Oh, wow. that would be.
We had an ice storm years back ago with many people gone for 5 days, and I actually brought the guitar out for the family and trying to remember songs and words to them, but it was like, boy, it passes the time, and it's just a blast, and it's amazing that I hope we can get more people. You don't need to learn a lot of chords to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're moving a lot of fingers and stuff through there.
Yeah, but I've been doing it for a lot of years, but the thing is a lot of simple music. I play a lot of for folks. Their trailers for sailor and looms to let 50 cents. I got rhythm, I got music.
There's just so many, you know what?
Yep.
In all honesty, there's just so many songs.
Mm-hmm. And that's the fun part about it is like, oh, we stumped you. And it's like, yeah, you did, but check me tomorrow. I may remember it. We got a musical Rolodex in our head.
Exactly. I'll tell you what, we're getting close to the end of our show, but why don't you take us out with a good instrumental?
Okay.
And one that maybe we'll all remember?
Alrighty.
And I'll try not to sing.
Now you'll know this one. Get your harmonica out. Little honky tonk.
You got a key to X? I can't get dialed in. I tell you what, we're going to exit this show with John playing along. If you got the groove, you got this with John. He's grooving now. I'm Denny Grabauer. John Schumacher. John, thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for the special tunes. We thank you for joining us, and we will